Hello, people of Earth. Whether you're joining us here in San Francisco or all over the world via the power of the internet, please join me in welcoming to the stage GitHub CEO Nat Friedman.
All right. How's everyone doing on a Friday? Awesome. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to GitHub. We're so glad that you could commit to being here with us today. I'm Nat Friedman. I'm the CEO of GitHub. We're here in San Francisco at GitHub's San Francisco headquarters, but GitHub's actually a distributed company. We're 1,000 people. We're in countries around the world, and so it's appropriate that we're also streaming this event live right now to thousands of people online. So, wherever you are, if it's Friday night, if it's Saturday morning, thank you for joining us. We're so happy you could spend part of your day with us. So I became CEO of GitHub 6 months ago when the Microsoft acquisition completed, and GitHub actually operates as an independent company, and we're committed to serving developers and giving them what they want. And so some of you may have noticed, for the last 6 months, we've been really focused on listening to developers, talking to maintainers, talking to small companies and big companies, and hearing what you want us to do, and then doing that. So it's a simple formula, but it's working. We've been shipping a lot. In fact, we've shipped over the last 6 months improvements to almost every part of GitHub, from draft pull requests to improvements to gists and issues and notifications, to new mobile views like the one we shipped yesterday, and much more. And so, in fact, I'm happy to report that at the 6-month mark, we've shipped over 100 updates to GitHub in just the last 6 months. It's something we're really proud of. Everyone at GitHub has worked so hard to do all of this for you, and so we're really proud of the work that we've done, and we're really just getting started. Now, one of our biggest announcements in the last 6 months was in January, when we announced that we would make unlimited private repos free for all GitHub users. And the response to this has been awesome. We've actually seen the rate of private repo creation on GitHub triple since then, and with no slowdown, in fact, an acceleration in the rate of public repo creation. So GitHub is growing kind of faster than ever along every measurable dimension. As an example, when we announced that Microsoft was buying GitHub, we had 28 million registered users. And today we have 36 million registered users on GitHub. We're really proud of that. We also hit, thank you. We hit, at the end of last year, a big milestone with 100 million total repos on GitHub. Now, what's interesting about this is to look at the rate of repo creation. So it took 6 years for GitHub to get to its first 3 million repos. Now, today, developers create more than 3 million repos on GitHub every month. So GitHub is really growing fast, and it's exciting to be a part of it. Now, I know you're all here to see our latest work, right? We gave a little teaser Wednesday morning. We announced this sort of mysterious launch event, and we invited you to come, and you're here, so I know you're curious to find out what it is that we're shipping now. But before we get into that, a lot of you actually made some pretty great guesses as to what the announcement would be today, and so I thought we could highlight a few of these guesses. So here's 3. Jackson Harper suggested that we ship 2 free hours of dog walking for all GitHub Pro subscribers. Jackson is a dog lover. We're dog lovers at GitHub. Jackson, I'm sorry to report, we're not shipping this. Aaron Patterson said we're changing from a GitHub to a Git switch for higher throughput. Now, Aaron actually works at GitHub, and we are very proud to see him exemplifying our focus on performance and latency with this idea. Thank you, Aaron. And then finally, many of you made the same suggestion, and you were so passionate about it. And I want you to know we've heard you. You want Clippy. You really want Clippy in GitHub. But I'm sorry to say we're not shipping Clippy yet. Okay, so to understand what we are shipping today, I want to just take a step back and explain a little bit about how we see the world and software development at GitHub. So when you think about how developers write software today, the image that we have in our head is usually the image of the lone developer, right? We think of developers as loners, as sort of introverts who work by themselves, maybe in a dark room, with the door closed, just them and their computer, and like you sort of slip pizza under the door, and you get code out the other side. That's the archetype, right? It's this archetype of solitude. But in reality, this is not how software gets created, right? And in reality, software development is deeply collaborative, and every line of code that we each write builds on the work of thousands of other people. We're kind of all a part of this interconnected community where each person who writes code gets to leverage and build on the work of others. We're standing truly on the shoulders of every other developer who's come before us. And so that's why for us at GitHub, our mission is about this. Our mission is to build the global platform for developer cooperation. It's a kind of a magical thing. We're this website where strangers come together and build things. They build the future together. And like in 2019, strangers on the internet is a little bit of a scary concept, right? And so the fact that strangers can come together and make things is awesome. So we think about this a lot. We think about how developers cooperate, how they share their work with each other, and how they build on their work. And so sometimes this is simple, right? Sometimes it's me looking at some code you've written, maybe copying and pasting a method or a piece of code off a gist or Stack Overflow, and just like putting that into my work. Or sometimes I'll read your code and I'll learn how you've solved a problem, and then I'll apply that same lesson to the work that I'm doing. But more and more developers cooperate in open source by importing open source packages that others have written. And we've heard in our conversations with developers how critical it is for you to be able to find packages that you can trust and rely on and put them in your dependency graph so that you can actually build on them. And many of you have asked us whether we can provide a way for you to publish your work directly on GitHub. And so today, I'm pleased to announce our newest product, the GitHub Package Registry. Whoa. Here it is. Your code, your packages all together behind one account, your GitHub account. Okay, so when we set out to build GitHub Package Registry, we set 3 goals for ourselves. Our first goal was to give maintainers an easy way to share their work with the whole world easily on GitHub. Our second goal was to help teams improve their velocity and be more efficient and productive, adopt best practices, and be able to actually automate their software development lifecycle. And then finally, we're really focused on this idea of security and trust. And so we want to build the world's most secure and trusted package registry that can link your code to your commits and releases all the way through to your packages so you have that full traceability. So those were our 3 goals. Now, I'll tell you a little more about GitHub Package Registry. As you might expect, it's fully integrated with GitHub, including with our releases and with search. It allows anyone with a GitHub account to publish packages to their registries. It provides both public and private registries. And today we're shipping out of the box with support for 5 registry protocols: NPM, Ruby Gems, NuGet, Maven, and Docker. More are coming. So this will work with all your existing packaging tools and work great with any CI system that you're already using or that you might choose to use in the future. Okay. The best way to understand the power of the GitHub Package Registry is to see it. So should we do a demo? What do you think? Yeah. All right. To demo GitHub Package Registry to you, please welcome the lead engineer of the project, Phani Raj. Phani, come on up.
All right. Can we switch the screens, please? Hello, everyone. Let's wait for the screen to turn up. Hey, there's my dog. Okay, awesome. I want to set up a story today of an engineer who's early on in their careers and are trying to do something as a test project or something to learn. They've just learned that Khan Academy exists, and it's a great place to go for them to learn math, science, and other stuff. And they want to build something that actually works with Khan Academy, and they've discovered that they have APIs. So what they want to do is search for something that will allow them to work with Khan Academy, so APIs in the language that they're familiar with, JavaScript. So the way that someone does this today is by going on GitHub and then looking for a term. So I'll do that today. Start for Khan. For GitHub. Something interesting actually just turned up. If you see in the left-hand side under issues, you have a new result type called packages. these are packages published to GitHub's package registry across all of GitHub through public repositories or private repositories that you have access to. So this gives me a bunch of super useful information, such as what is the package type, how many downloads it has, which repository it comes from, and what is the latest version, and when it was last updated. If there were multiple results, you would see multiple package types turn up here. So if you're looking for Docker packages, you can click on the Docker tab down there, and you'll see only Docker packages going forward. So let's actually follow through this. So as I said, I'm a developer trying to build something that'll work with the Khan Academy APIs, and I see that there's actually a whole bunch of really useful information here. The package page has the install instructions right at the top, which I can copy paste. But along with that, I also have download counts, all of the versions, and all of the topics that the repository has registered on github.com itself. Now, I know who published this, so I can just look at this directly and then go to the repo's code, which is what is published inside the package, and see who wrote it. It's just one contributor, mostly me, so there's no surprises here. It's just one contributor, and I know that this person is the only person who's actually contributed code, and I can look at what's the code inside this. So now I have some signal of trust about what this package contains and who wrote it. So let me just go in. I'm like, okay, this looks great. So now I'm certain, okay, this is something that I actually want to import into my application, because already I have a really high signal of trust about what's inside the package, and I'm not going to be maliciously hacked via a Bitcoin miner or something else in my code. Copy this, and let's jump into terminal. Nothing up my sleeve. This directory is empty. I'm going to create an empty package.json, and let's run an npm install. Obviously, it failed. It doesn't know what Sweet Haven Village is or anything there is. So if you look at the name, Sweet Haven Village is the name of the organization that is hosting the package. In case this was a personal account, that would be @Fanatic, @your username, or @your company name, based on where the package is published. So I need to log in. To log in, I need to do something that people are pretty used to doing right now, creating a personal access token on github.com itself for your personal account. As part of package registry, we've introduced 2 new scopes which are pretty low privilege, called write packages and read packages, that allows you to only work with packages on github.com's repositories. You don't need to give this thing permissions to read or write repository sources. You can just work with packages on a repository. So I have this already on my machine. I'm going to run pbcopy because I don't want any of you copying my tokens. So let's run an npm login. As Nat mentioned, pkg.github.com is the guiding source of truth for us. We want publishing packages to GitHub to be as simple as changing a URL, and then you're off to the races immediately. So right now, this is npm.pkg.github.com. As I show you more demos for different package types, it'll be docker.pkg.com, npm.pkg.com, and so on and so forth for every one of the types we support. So registry is npm, and then the scope is the organization at which the package is published. That was that, and then so now I'm logged in. This is a stock npm CLI. I didn't have to write anything. It's not hacked. If you want, later come over and I'll show you the hash of the file, and you can compare it against your version. So I'm gonna now run npm install. What this is doing is it's doing a couple of interesting things. It's hitting our npm registry APIs to go download the metadata for the package, and then immediately after that, we give it a redirect to our globally available CDN so that your package download is fast no matter where you are. I tried this from my home in Minneapolis, and I found out that the CDN is actually like within 10 miles of my house, so hey, homegrown packages, right? Now I go back to the package, and then it said 0 downloads. Let me refresh this real quick. Hey, 1 download, perfect. Thank you. What you see up there is download activity. We collect and roll up download activity by the hour, but we show you to in a more reasonable format of the year so far, the month so far, week so far, and so far today. Keep an eye on that because there's something interesting coming up there pretty soon. So as you can see, at this point, let's just take a tiny break. What you looked at is basically me being able to search for a package using your existing search knowledge and the same search box as you always search for code on github.com to search for a new data type, packages. You've been able to use your existing personal access token infrastructure to generate a token that'll help you install packages from github.com. You don't need to learn a newer security model. And I want to talk a little bit about visibility. This repository is private. The only reason that I'm able to install a package from here is because I'm a collaborator on that repository with a read-only access. So even though I generated a token with the read-write permissions, if I do not have write access to the repository to push code, I cannot publish a package there. Repository permissions are your registry permissions. If you can push code to the repository, you can push a package. If you can read code from a repository, you can download stuff from a repository, from a package registry. And this is true across all of our existing package types, all 5 of them. So if you're an org admin who manages permissions and visibility of your intellectual property through repository permissions and org permissions, you can continue to use those for packages starting today. Oof, right. All right, I got my script here, so I keep going back to it. There's a lot in here. Okay, packages are read a lot more than code is read a lot more than it's written, and packages are downloaded a lot more than they're published. The statistics I have is like 96% for our current beta. 96% installs and 4% uploads. So let's try doing that. Let's try uploading the package. So to do that, I can't use this login anymore because I don't have permissions. So I'm going to log out and then log in with another token that I have for myself. This time it'll be with my name. So now I'm logged in. Now let's go into the repository for Khan Academy. So just to make sure that there's no magic behind the screens, git remove -v. This is Sweet Haven Village, same repository that we're looking at. Let's change the, nope, not what I wanted. Let's change the version number once I figure out what the file is called. Not that. You know what, one of these days I'll get it right. There we go. So 0.6.9, since we follow semantic versioning on this project, we're going to call it 0.7.0. Escape. So as part of publishing, what it's doing is it's calling out to our APIs and then asking for an upload URL for it to send all of the content up and pushing the file up. So that was instant. It didn't take a long time. Now, if I go into my package page here and refresh this, the latest tag on the package has now changed from 0.6.9 to 0.7.0. And a whole bunch of stuff was automatically generated for me that my consumers found a lot of value in. They found a lot of value in automatically generated install instructions, and again, automatically generated. I didn't need to do any of that stuff to be able to publish a package onto GitHub's NPM registry. And there's also a couple of stuff in here. I see a bunch of stuff repeated. I'm a neat freak, so I really care about repeating stuff over and over again. So I can edit the description of a package via markdown editing. This is full markdown editing and rendering that you're used to across all of GitHub's properties. So if you know how to edit a comment, you know how to edit a package description. So I can look at the preview. This works. I'm going to go ahead and save this. So at this point, I've published a package. It's got 0 downloads, but there's also a new version up here. I want to switch gears a little bit and then talk about multiple package types. While developing this application, I work a lot with the Khan Academy APIs. And since it's a community source, while I'm writing the code, I don't want to have to hit the publicly available service over and over again just to prove that my code works. Instead, what I would love to have is an offline version of Khan Academy that I can run on my machine via something like Docker. So I have something called Docker KA Lite. KA Lite is an offline version of Khan Academy that you can run in your CI system without access to the internet so that you can run your tests against it. At this point, I would love to build this and also push this to the same repository that hosts the application. So someone downloading the library can also use the Docker image to test their application against it. So to do this, I have to do a couple of things. You usually Docker build and then Docker tag. In this case, I'm going to skip the build and tag part and do them both at the same time. What you see up there is docker.pkg.github.com. The same way you're used to npm.pkg.github.com, it's Docker now. The URL is pretty much the same. It's Sweet Haven Village, Khan Academy, same thing that you did back for the npm package. The difference is now you can also append an image name at the end, along with an image tag or version, if you call it that. So let's call this 1.0.9 because I've already got 1.0.8. There's nothing to build because I've already built it a couple of times. And now what I'm going to do is just copy this. And before I push, I have to log in. So if you see me log in, that's Docker is the domain name, but the token is pretty much the same as the token that I used for accessing packages from my NPM registry. So one set of credentials gives you access to all 5 of the package registry types for every GitHub repository. Now, that's my username. I'm going to log in. Voila. So, and then let's push. Again, native tooling. This is the exact same Docker version that's available everywhere. Ask me for hashes later. I'll print it out. It's talking about layer already exists, and that's because of the way that the Docker client works. Every image is split up into multiple layers and is uniquely identified with a SHA-256 hash. It asks our server, hey, do you have this layer already? And then we say, yep, it is. So if you have a repository that is a monorepo and it is producing multiple Docker images, and they all share the base image, you don't need to upload the base image over and over again. You do it once, and every other Docker image within that repository will have access to it immediately. So let's take a break here and then talk about what we just saw. We saw the ability for you to generate a token that not only gives you read access, but also write access to all packages on github.com's package registry. You saw that the URL's domain name is pretty specific and pretty uniform across all of the package registry types, how the URLs are formed, and also what you need to do to be able to publish a package to GitHub's package registry. Now, you might be saying, like, okay, this is all great, but no one on my team does this. Like, no one on my team actually directly pushes via the NPM CLI or the Docker CLI. We have automation in place for that stuff. We have robots doing our work for us. So let's get a robot to do something for us. To do that, I have a separate application here called Package Cloud. It has nothing to do with package registry, unfortunate naming. It basically allows you to work with different cloud providers such as AWS, ECR, and Amazon. And it helps you create virtual machines and stuff. So this team is pretty specific about the kind of product that they want to build. They want everything to have a URL. So what they do is, for every pull request that is merged to master, they want to have the ability to point it back to a package that was produced out of that hash. So what that means is, master is always deployable is a philosophy that we follow here at GitHub. So for a bunch of you who are curious about setting up a workflow that says master is always available as a redistributable package, this is something that might be useful. This workflow is pretty simple. It says when a PR is merged, publish it to GitHub's package registry, and then comment on the PR. Now let's make a really contrived example here, and then I'm going to change this. And to do that, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to call it 1.8. Nope, not what I wanted. Let's go back. And I'm going to get out of full screen so I can actually see this. So 1.8.5, and then I'm going to say, it's not amazing, it's incredible. Preview my changes, great. I mean, that deserves like a minor version bump, I'm sure. So once I have this, I'm going to go in, and then instead of directly pushing to master, I'm going to create a patch branch, and let's say, create my pull request for me. That's not what I want. So let's have this side by side. So at this point, not that one. A bunch of the collaborators from the repository have come in, they've looked at this, and they're like, this makes a lot of sense. Thank you for doing this for us. This is useful. And I'm like, you know what? Thank you so much. I live to serve. And we merged this to master. At this point, I want a bunch of robots to kick off for me. And let's make sure that our robots are doing something. And to ensure that there's no trickery here, I'm just going to slowly back away. And let's refresh this. OK, great. So it's doing something now. I'm just going to walk away to make sure that nothing's happening. So my prediction is that, I believe in calling your shots. My prediction is that at a certain point, a package will get pushed somewhere, and someone will comment on something. All right, let's wait. Oh, the GPR action that's in there is the stock NPM action for GitHub Actions. We didn't have to build a custom one to be able to push to GPR. It's the existing action. We just had to give it a URL, and voila. So now, at this point, the action ran, and GitHub Actions was able to create a package version and also comment on the pull request saying, hey, here's where the package is available now. And then, that's cheers. Thank you. You guys can sense what I'm thinking. I don't know how. That package is published. Now, it's also available, so you can also, well, let's just switch to the div. And everything that you just saw is also true. Just because it's automation doesn't mean that you have to learn a new set of tools. It's the same access token that you created to be able to work from your local machine that's also working from within your automation system. And also, if you're the kind of person who leaves your keys hanging about, if you lose this token, the only thing you lose is the ability to download packages and upload packages, not source code. So let's take a step back a little bit, and I just want to talk about everything that we just saw. We're talking about an automation system which is publishing packages to GitHub Package Registry. And then we saw the ability for a repository to contain multiple package types. I think this is extremely powerful. Today, if you have a repository that publishes a Docker image and also an NPM package, you need to maintain 2 sets of accounts and 2 sets of credentials and 2 sets of role mappings and everything just so that you can manage relationships and packages across multiple vendors. GitHub Package Registry allows you to use your existing tooling and existing knowledge to work across all 5 of the package registry types we support. Not just mentioned, we have about 100 million packet repositories on GitHub.com. That's 500 million packet servers on GitHub.com the day this goes live. That's incredible. Now, you saw me publish a bunch of packages and then push a bunch of packages. I kind of want to talk a little bit about webhooks and organizations. So if you're an org admin or someone who's looking out, so if you're a part of an organization, you saw my dog go look for packages on GitHub.com. So if you're an engineer and you're thinking, what does my organization do for XYZ? Who do I ask for organizational knowledge about? I want to work with Elasticsearch, or I want to work with Docker, I want to work with OctaKit or GitHub APIs. I want to see what is my organization using for packages in terms of consumption and also production. You can go out today to the organizational tab and then start searching for packages that are published within your organization. So you can start having a more collaborative environment via something like packages instead of putting URLs down or vendoring stuff into your own repositories. This also supports search, CLI. Again, search everywhere. So I think that's like pretty much all of the stuff that I wanted to cover at this point. Like, Nat's going to mention a couple of other things. In closing, I want to say a couple of things. It's been a pleasure to build this at GitHub, and I think in terms of support, a planet-scale application requires planet-scale support. I think GitHub.com is a planet-scale application, and GitHub Package Registry is a planet-scale service that is built to support its needs. And nowhere is it more relevant than something that is already happening today for us. Elasticsearch is an image that is used inside our CI systems. Every hour, this image is downloaded at least 10 times, and GitHub deploys the entire website about at least 5 times a day, depending on the queue length. Some people might disagree. But when 640 engineers, that's our engineering org, know where you live and also have your phone number, they will call you if what you built fails them when they're trying to deploy to GitHub.com. Over the past 6 months, I've not gotten a single call, so that's pretty great. We've powered, just this year, about 500,000 downloads of our Docker image. And if you look at this image, it is not small. What you look at here is basically the manifest information, but that image is about 1.5 gigs. So that's 500,000 times 1.5 gigs. Now, I'm not a math specialist, but that's a lot, isn't it? So we're GitHub. And I'm really proud to be part of this because I believe that GitHub relies on this. And I think because we rely on it, we can promise that you can too. With that, thank you. Nat.
Thank you, Phani. I hope you liked what you saw. To recap a few of the kind of key highlights. Whoopsie. Oh no. Public and private registries are supported on GitHub Package Registry, number 1. 2, we have a single login, a single account that gives you access to all of your registries and to your code. So you can control access to your code and packages from a single set of permissions. It's really powerful. Support for the 5 major registries mentioned here and more coming soon. We have a great extension framework for adding support for new registries, which will be opening up in the future. This works with any CI, and as Phani demonstrated for you, it also works with GitHub Actions, which is really exciting. We have full GraphQL API and webhook support. So if you want webhooks based on packages getting published, that sort of thing, you can get them. We provide insights, download stats, and analytics for maintainers, and it's really fast. We use a global CDN to distribute the packages everywhere, so wherever you are in the world, a copy of the package you're looking for is probably cached in near you. So we're launching in beta today, and if you want to get access to the beta, you'll be able to sign up. During the beta, GitHub Package Registry is completely free. And we're also free beta, okay? Glad you like. I don't know who charges for their betas, but we're also committing today that GitHub Package Registry will be free for public repositories forever. So across all registry protocols, across all types. And after it's generally available, after the beta, GitHub Package Registry will be included in all of our paid plans. So we'll have more details on that after the beta and when we get to GA, but we're committed to including the capabilities in all of our paid plans. Now, we're also really excited to be working with the open source community on this, right? I mean, GitHub Package Registry, our entire model of how developers work depends on there being a healthy and thriving open source community. So we're excited to already be cooperating with our friends at NPM and Yarn, and we're looking forward to working more with them in the future, so stay tuned for more to come. Okay, if you're interested and you want to know how to get started, you can sign up for the beta now at this URL, github.com/features/package registry. If you're visiting with us in person in the room here in San Francisco, we've already turned this on in your accounts. It should show up in the next couple of hours. We used the email address that you gave us, so if you gave us a fake email address, it probably won't work, but you should have access soon. Also, Phani and some of the other folks who've been involved in building the GitHub Package Registry are going to be here in the back of the room by those expensive leather benches back there. And so if you want to ask them questions, you can go talk to them. For everyone everywhere, we'd really love to hear your thoughts, your requests, your feedback, what you like, what you don't like. We're in this for the long term. We're totally committed to offering the service and being the best in the world. And so we'd love to hear what you think. We're listening. Now, this is kind of the beginning of a very busy time at GitHub. We're kind of entering this really exciting season. And so in fact, in less than 2 weeks, we have one of our major conferences, which is called GitHub Satellite. It's on May 23rd, and it's in Berlin. And so if you're in Berlin or nearby, we'd love to see you in person. You should please come visit. If not, watch for the announcements that we're going to be making there. Some of them are incredibly exciting. And we can't wait to share them with you. Later in the summer, we're going to have a big update on GitHub Actions to share with all of you, so stay tuned for that as well. Okay, so thank you very much for spending time with us today. We hope you enjoyed what you saw, and we hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you. Good job.